Ah, yes. It has officially been 1 year since I've moved to Portland, Oregon. Not me. I moved here from New York City, and to say the least, it's very different on this side. But people have been wanting me to give another update on life in Portland and what my thoughts on the city have become at this point. I guess typically it would be important for me to tell you guys that I have a playlist called Living in Portland, and you can watch those previous videos. But truly, I do think that the information in this video will be a lot more important. You know, opinions are like wine. They tend to get better with time. So now that I've been here for a full year, I'll have much more clarity on my thoughts about Portland, Oregon. I also want to answer some common questions that I've received here on the channel in regard to Portland. So we will do like a FAQ section toward the end of the video. So first, let's talk about what is good with Portland. I don't want to start it off sounding like a hater. Now, first thing, I'll always say this, Portland has amazing food. You have so many options here in the city. You got all the good stuff, burgers, ramen, chicken sandwiches, soul food, biscuits and gravy. Then you got the healthy stuff. And of course, you got the desserts. Everything is here. I know Portland is getting more and more recognition for their unique food scene, but I'm just amazed that I didn't even know about the food scene in Portland until moving here. I did a video going around Portland and trying different pizzas to see who had the best pizza in the city. So if you need recommendations on pizza while you're here, feel free to watch that video. And I also did a test similar with donuts in Portland. So if you need suggestions on donuts, there's a video for you as well. And I'm always looking for a reason to go and eat more food. So feel free to comment what type of food you want me to go and test out next. Okay, another goodie about Portland is the cost of living. Now, before you Portlandians jump down my throat, I'm saying this as a person coming from a big city. The cost of living in Portland is just way cheaper. You get way more bang for your buck here, and of course you don't have unwanted roommates that love cheese. That's all I'm saying. Yes, everywhere in the country is expensive. All landlords should be in jail. I completely agree. But Portland is far cheaper than other cities that I've lived in. And there's no sales tax, so you end up saving when you're making big purchases like buying a car. Not sure how much this one matters to you guys, but the people in Portland are extremely friendly. Like how it is down south, you're walking by someone and you just have to say hello. It's kind of like that here. The people are so friendly, it's almost to a fault. Like people across the street will hear your conversation and jump in with answers. People out here just want to talk to each other, and I think that's kind of dope. You can always ask someone around you for directions or an opinion on something. They're more than happy to give it. Coming from New York, I can tell you that was not the case, so you have to appreciate that when you're in a place like Portland. Another positive about Portland, there's really reliable transit. This was a surprise to me because living on the East Coast, living in New York and in Toronto, I never hear about Portland, and I just didn't think that they would have a reliable transit system. If you're moving out here without a car like I did, you can still get around the city very easily. However, having a car will unlock a completely different experience for you. So make sure to come out here with some wheels, or just do it the Portland way and steal some wheels. I'll explain what I mean by that a little later in the video. But if you have a car, you can drive out to some of the attractions that a lot of Portland people are obsessed with, like mountains and lakes and nature. Yeah. But one last positive note about Portland, and I'll draw in an early FAQ. People are always asking me, what's it like finding work out in Portland? Work is in a job, not work like work, you know? First of all, I'm hurt that y'all think I still have to work and I'm not a famous YouTuber. But in my experience, employers out here seem very eager, almost desperate. I'll apply to something, sometimes even late at night, and almost immediately you're receiving a text from the employer trying to set up an interview. And that's for me. Like, I have zero skills. So if you're a talented person within an industry, you'll definitely be highly sought after coming to Portland. If you didn't know, I do sneaker reviews here on YouTube, so it definitely helps that Nike is out here, Adidas is out here. There's obviously jobs with really cool companies and a lot of opportunities for you. Now, we get to chat about the real stuff. I know you watch the news. You want to know all of the weird and crazy things going on in Portland? Well, let's start off with the big one. This is Tent City. There's so many people living on the street. It's just impossible to ignore. I'm even wary of my family coming out here to visit me. And it's not even just regular homeless people. Like I said, I'm coming from New York, so I've seen my fair share of homeless people, and that wouldn't rattle me. But the people out here are all out fiends. Like, there's more people on drugs and living in tents in Portland than there are regular people. If you're moving to some ritzy neighborhood, you might see them less, but these people do have legs, they can wander, and like I said, they live in tents, so wherever they want to live is where they're gonna live, right? I mentioned stealing wheels earlier. Everyone that I know out here who has a car has a story about one of the junkies out here breaking into their car and stealing something. So that is something to look into if you are moving to Portland. Try to, I guess, find a house with a garage. Not that they can't break into that as well. The junkies are honestly the biggest flaw of Portland, Oregon. And they own the city because they're predominantly white. So of course, police are pretty much non-existent here because you wouldn't want to lock up poor white people for the crimes they commit. And thus, junkies here just do whatever they want. That of course could not happen in a black city. It would be like The Wire. The police would never be out of sight. Another huge negative of Portland, Oregon is this kind of unspoken curfew. Everything here closes super early. They have all of these good restaurants, but come 11 o'clock or midnight, everything is closed. And that's when I'm actually hungry. You have to resort to going to bars and paying crazy prices for some of the most basic food that you can find, or staying at home and making your own version of poutine. And that's been a hard adjustment for me coming from New York because at all times of the night, something is open. And that's just not the case in Portland. Now, I'm gonna sound like I'm sitting on two sides of the fence for these next two cons. Let's circle back to public transportation. It's great that you can get around Portland even if you don't have a car, but this is a pretty privileged city, so most of the people living here do have cars. So when you're on the bus, there's not many people. However, without fail, there will always be at least one junkie. What is going on, Portland? Why are junkies allowed on the bus? I get it, they have places to go to, but in New York, guaranteed the MTA driver is not letting crackheads get on the bus. You gotta be on the bus here watching your peripherals because you just never know. Portland, I hate to sound like a mean person, but you have to draw the line at junkies. You cannot let them on the bus with regular people. Now, circling back on the people in Portland too. Living here, you're meeting the same person over and over and over. They have tons of tattoos, they have 12 dogs, they wear Hoka shoes, they love hiking, they drive a Subaru. Everyone out here is into the same things. I've gone hiking before. I do not see why the people here are so caught up on it. And why do they love dogs so much? There's definitely other things that you can do in Portland, but hiking and going to lakes seem to be what everyone is caught up on. The next thing is a negative for most people, but I actually kind of dig it. It rains in Portland. A lot. For a good chunk of the year, you're getting little showers of rain and some gray skies. It's a little moody. People here aren't in love with the rainy season, but I definitely enjoyed it last year. It promotes being creative while you're staying inside. So make sure to stock up on some indoor activities if you are coming to Portland to live. Some video games could come in handy, And I do want to bring some more gaming to the channel, so feel free to watch me play as dusk falls. Okay, so for this next segment, I'll be answering some FAQ questions about life in Portland. These are just based off questions that I get repeatedly. People are always asking me, what is life like in Portland for a person of color? I'm not a person of color, I'm black, but it's weird for sure. Especially looking at the whole junkies running the city and little to no police interference. You can't help but notice that it's only that way because the junkies and the criminals are white. They've created a loophole so that white people can continue to do whatever they want and not go to jail. But even aside from that, you feel like a minority and a rarity here. There are other black people in Portland, like yeah, you can find them, but it's not like in other cities where we have our own communities and we're loud, we're proud, and we occupy space. It's just not like that in Portland. Despite all of the Black Lives Matter signs, black lives don't really exist here. Do I ever see a Mine? I have not bumped into a Mine yet. However, I did see someone the other night who I was like 90% sure it was a Mine, walked like dressed like but I guess maybe people in Portland just look like people from Portland, so there's gonna be some people that look like a Mine. Bar/club recommendations. Casa is cool, Jackie's is cool, Two Wrongs is a chill spot, and the last time I was there they played a playlist full of Drake, so that was perfect for me. There's also 45 East if you're into house music, all very solid spots. What is the sneaker scene like in Portland? You know, Nike is here, Adidas is here, but people still choose to wear Hokas. Now, people out here definitely have some heat. I feel like we're in a weird period because everyone is just wearing dunks to be like Travis Scott, and I cannot wait for that to be over. But you have access to sneakers out here. There's even a boutique Bait, and they have some great sneakers in there as well. Do I see myself living in Portland long term? Man, honestly, I feel like I may have had my fix on Portland at this point. It's cool, and undoubtedly there's more for me to see and more for me to experience in Portland. But I do feel like other cities might be way more up my alley. But I'm here at the moment and definitely planning to just make the most of it. And I don't want my answer to skew your view of Portland or change your mind on whether you should move here. We're all different. Portland might not be for me, but it may have exactly what you're looking for. I would always suggest to try and visit Portland for a week if you can, get a sense of the area, meet some people out here, and I think that would do you a lot more justice than seeing a person who lives in Portland talk about Portland. Maybe you like junkies. But yeah, that is my 1 year review on living in Portland, Oregon. Hopefully this can help you in your decision to move here. I'm always here to answer questions though, so feel free to shoot me a comment at any point, whether it's here, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, it doesn't matter. Thank y'all for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and if you made it to this point in this really long video, comment where is Amine. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Oh, and one last negative thing about Portland, Tina Kotek. She has way too many commercials.